circles looking for something because there's nothing going right for them anywhere on the map at all. G2 win the fight at Baron, they win the fight at the inhibitor, and they're looking to win the game. There's just nothing you can do. There's the triple kill. Reckless gets the quadra, going for the penta. What a way to cap it up. But no! Steelback stops him in his track.
To beat it as the final towers falls. Senkux looks on because Rocket are blasting off to victory.
And for the first time in history, the fourth consecutive EU LCS title. G2 Esports.
Misfits, the underdogs in this game. No one expected anything, but they hit hard.
Yankos, the first Black King! Let's make this a clean fight.
Welcome to Berlin, Germany for the final day of the ELCS Spring Split. With so much still left to be decided, we have 6 teams still in the race for those last 2 playoff spots. Every game counts. I'm Eva Schock-supporter here with Martin the Fish Show Lunge, and it's been a while since I've been this excited for the last day of the regular season.
Because every game counts.
You know what? That is what they
Got
say.
another one.
That is what they say. Well, let's take a look at the race for playoffs and exactly how these battles are going to or can possibly play out. Let's start with the top of the table. Fnatic locked in first, but G2, Splyce, Vitality can all still get second.
Yeah, and because Vitality, of course, beat Splyce yesterday, it is looking very good for them as long as they can win. I'm also looking further down the standings, as we've done basically all split long. There's still a giant group of teams who can make it in. I'm especially looking at Rocket, who's currently sitting alone at number 5. I feel like it's kind of on their, side now if they actually want to make it, because just win your game. That's it.
That's it. If Rocket win, they're in and they're against H2K. And if H2K win, they're also in. But of course, we'll keep you updated at the stakes before every single game. And our stats team, they also looked at the possibility for tiebreaker games because we always want to know. And with 50-50 odds remaining, that matchup, that's the way they looked at the... How do you explain this properly? Because I just messed it up.
Basically, they took a 50-50 win-loss in this case and just ran all the numbers, all the matches multiple times. And in the end, we found out that there is a high chance of at least one tiebreaker, so 50% chance for that one. Obviously, 31% chance of 0 tiebreakers at all, but also a chance we get 2 extra games, and they should be played today after the current matches are done.
They would be. We'll see what happens there. We always love tiebreakers, and if the games are as exciting as they have been, then why the heck not? We also want to pick your brain and have you tweet at LOL Esports who you think will take second place and why. So out of G2, Vitality, and Splyce, and use that hashtag every game counts. But for now, yesterday we already had a lot of action, and our boy Verius is standing by with some explosive highlights from Day Uno.
It's your boy Verius. Thank you very much, Shocks. Let's take a look back at some of the highlights from yesterday, starting off with Reckless, one of the candidates for Spring Split MVP, almost getting himself a pentakill versus Giants. Unfortunately, it was just a little too short, and Steelback, he was able to get a moral victory over his AD carry counterpart as he was able to deny the penta, even though they ended up losing. Fnatic coming off a strong performance, looking to end their regular season with a 14-4 record. Our next play, we'll be looking at Wonder and Perks, the carries on G2, to get a miraculous comeback versus the Unicorns of Love. Down in the bottom lane, these guys were split-pushing monsters. They were able to turn the tides against the Unicorns of Love and find the needed win conditions in order to turn the game in their favor. We'll be keeping our eyes on Wonder to see if he can make the same kind of performance today. Finally, we have to go to the god himself, Gilius, demonstrating that even gods can falter, making a very questionable decision in the middle lane, really damaging his team's reputation, but fortunately being able to turn it around in the end and being a large part of the play that enabled his team to get the win over Splyce.
What a great last play. Like, I like you. Just have this one play where he just randomly dies. And the other 2 were like big moments.
Gods giveth and gods taketh away.
Take it away. And that means that because of that win from Vitality, the battle of the bye, as we are coining it, is still very much alive. And we'll see Vitality taking on G2 in a direct battle for the battle of the bye. Yes, I'm going to say it again. So, in the case that Vitality wins, they just straight up take that second place and take that bye for the quarterfinals. And if Splyce win the first game versus Giants, G2 have to win versus Vitality to force the tiebreaker versus Splyce. So, as you can see, a lot is up in the air because every match influences basically the match that comes
Every
after
game
that.
counts, perhaps?
Yes, well, actually, I didn't want to put it that way in this specific instance.
We got 3
We're
so
reaching
far.
our quotas. But with Vitality's win yesterday, it means that it is do or die for Splyce today versus Giants if they want that second place. So, let's talk a bit more about that match versus Vitality. Of course, Vetty has just touched on it, but the Fisio. How did Splyce lose that game? How on earth did they give that game away?
They were in full control, but sadly, it doesn't matter if you end up getting destroyed in the end. So I looked at this game, and the way it was played like Rocky 4, where Rocky and Draco are kind of fighting each other. Splyce, in this case, of course, Draco, they're delivering big punches onto Vitality and Rocky multiple times, and it looked like they're going to win. This is it. They play like the best team. They're clearly the best boxer in this case.
Exactly.
Sadly, it doesn't matter, because if you get knocked out in the end, like Vitality managed to do right here, and Rocky, of course, in that great movie.
So TLDR, Drago or Splyce is still a very good boxer.
Still a very good boxer, and still, in my opinion, the second best team in Europe. But it doesn't matter if you get knocked out in the end, because then you lose and you might not get your
But
body.
what's so good about them? What's so good about them, Betty?
So what's so good about Splyce? Well, for me, it's the jungler. Xerxes right now is the best performing European LCS jungler, and I think that it's a lot in the sense that you look at his early game impact and it is dramatically improved compared to what it was in the early parts of the split. But where he really shines is his team fighting. His value in fights, always knowing where to be, always providing what he needs to, is what really shines for him.
And what really, for me, is the biggest takeaway then, if we look at the split of Splyce overall, is that the first weeks it was all Kobbe, can Kobbe do it, this and that. But as the split progresses, we've seen Xerxes step up, we've seen Kasing step in the spotlight, Niski, Odawamne carrying some games, so that is only a good improvement for them.
And they've just gotten smarter. You know, I feel like a lot of teams in Europe have not shown a lot of progression during the split, but Splyce clearly look way better now compared to the first few weeks.
And for me, Splyce really is the success story that we've had here in Europe, where multiple teams came in with veterans and rookies, and Splyce, when they came in, expectations for many weren't that high, but you look at the growth that they made from the beginning to now, and I feel like they can claim nothing but success.
Yes, and they can claim that second place, which is why they're fighting for, or what they're fighting for rather, right here, and also versus Giants. Giants also really want to win to strengthen their position in that race for playoffs, and some additional implications. If Giants win versus Splyce, they knock out the Unicorns of Love and Misfits.
That's pretty cool. That Giants alone
Pretty rough,
can
too.
actually kill 2 teams right now.
Double kill.
There we go. It could actually happen for
could.
Giants. They're not going to be favorites going into this because it's been very rough for Giants lately, we have to say. Losing a lot of games towards the second half of the split.
5-3 after the first 4 weeks.
That was
But
a great
since
start.
then, they've only won 2 games. So as you say, that is why we haven't talked that much about Giants specifically. So how can they reactivate the things that were going well for them in the beginning of the year, or which players are we looking at?
Well, DeFisher, the one thing we've talked a lot about this split is their team fighting. These guys know how to work as a 5-man, and if they get themselves into a position where they're even with the enemy team, ideally a little bit ahead, that is a big win condition that they can rely on to get the wins.
In order to get there, we probably need to see a lot from Joko, which we have, to be fair, seen quite a lot.
We have.
A lot of the other players from other teams are praising him as well, because his early impact, you know, you feel it. He just randomly shows up in your lanes, and you don't think he's actually going to do anything, but then he pulls off a great gank. He needs to do that, and I think especially he needs to do it around Betsy.
He does, because when you look at the team fights, when he is the one set up for success, he really has a huge impact. Azir has been one of his most successful champions, where once he gets those kind of leads, that's where we can see Giants having really good team fights.
Standing so close over here.
I feel really
We could do it like this and
we
stuff.
have
I mean,
been
you guys
apart for so long.
This is the first time I
You
actually
stay
get
away
to
from
be
us.
on the introduction or on a segment with Verius and the Fisio together, so it's lovely. The magic is happening, and I know that you guys both voted for Splyce, though, so prediction-wise,
I'm
it's not really any
biased.
surprise.
Why did you
I
vote
have
Splyce?
boarded the Splyce hype train. I think they're the second best team in Europe as well, and I'm expecting them to take the win
And
today.
quickly, who are your 2 picks? Who is getting to playoffs out of the bottom 6 teams?
Bottom 6.
Yeah.
I'm going to say H2K and Rocket.
H2K and Rocket.
I am going to agree with the Fisio.
I'm going to say Schalke.
Schalke or something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to say Schalke and Rocket because I don't just want to say whatever the Fisio does all the time like you do.
He stole my
So-
prediction. He got there first. What can I do?
Alrighty, enough enough messing around. Remember that we also want to know what you think, and if you want to give some praise to some big plays that happen and give them some extra spotlight, you can send those big plays to us at LOL Esports on Twitter using the hashtag EULCS, and we'll take a closer look at them in the EULCS post-game lobby after our final game. Now, we are almost ready to get started with our final day, but first, let's get a look behind the scenes with W9D2 in the latest edition of the Game Day series.
In a way, I feel like it's a mistake that I just don't show emotion just because I'm, in a way, a perfectionist. Even if I have an insane game, I'm never going to be like happy because I'm always going to find one thing that I could have done better. I feel like one of the only happy moments I ever had in my career was at Worlds in 2016 when no one expected us to win that week where we went 5-0. That like day at Worlds, I feel like we reached the peak of that team. So that's why it was like such a great moment.
Schalke and Splyce, two teams that are tied in the standing. You didn't have Splyce in your playoff team, so is this then an easy win for Schalke for you?
My expectation would be that Schalke take the win here, and I just feel like right now, Splyce have all of the building blocks, but they are failing to put them together.
I was in talks with Golden Guardians, with Echo Fox. At one point, I was in talks also with FlyQuest. We have 100% win rate on Ilaoi, so we can play that. But towards the end, the most competitive offer was the one from Splyce.
If you're behind and you make a mistake, remember always think ahead to the next step, and you will win this game. 1, 2, 3, Splyce!
Big late game teamfights, that's kind of been a lot of what Splyce has been about.
They gave us Camille Galio, which made us really happy.
Now W9D2 needs to know that bot lane's gone missing. It ignores it. Stopwatch.
No, what?
No stopwatch. Use the stopwatch.
They started the swap, and I think that was really intelligent from them.
Galio's on the way in. Are we going to see the use of the stopwatch? Good pace comes from Vizicachi. Not going to be enough. Still doesn't use the stopwatch.
Double Inferno. All 3 out of turrets down.
3K gold lead official. This is massive for Splyce.
And there's the combo, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, but now he can buy time.
Vizicachi still making it out to safety. Good escape, comes in for Pride. Wants to bring it in. Nukeduck to do the damage. That's the turn and burn. This is going to make it easy for Nukeduck. He's trying to find a clear way through the creep. Leaps past, tries to get through the shield. They're looking for the base race, but this isn't a good bet. That's Tristana. She's built to take towers.
They got them pushed off and they made a sneaky play and caught us off guard.
Huge. They might be able to test it.
In H2K, we had this huge emphasis on winning every single game. Here it's different. It's one of those environments where you rely a lot on teamwork and everyone getting better to actually progress as a team. Kind of reminded me about first year with H2K.
Trying to save the team as they heal back.
Our best targets to kill was Tristana, but she still had stopwatch because she never used it.
Tristana has stopwatch. They are all moving. I don't think it is good. It is not. We're fine.
At that point in the game, it's better for us to just split up the map and isolate them. There were 5 people stuck in the pit, and when you get Camille ulti into Galio ulti, then you kind of get what you want, you know? When they went for the Nasher, they lost the game.
And W9D2 in the middle of the pit, they're trying to complete it. He immediately goes in on the upset. Upset's going to push it back. Tries not to use the stopwatch yet. Disky tries to bring it back. They do manage to take it away. Nukeduck's going to die here at the hands of Splyce. This is absolute disaster for Schalke. Everything has fallen apart.
Nexus only, please.
You know, I was so embarrassed because we were failing so much. I felt a bit pressure because everyone's in the middle of the pack, so... I just sent him once that he dies. Well done, guys. Good job. Splyce on 3. Sorry for replaying it. 1, 2, 3, Splyce! I feel like there's a huge competition right now, and... it's in a top lane meta where it's going to be played a lot around top side. I feel like I can have a huge impact and I can do a lot with this team.
I bet within that this rejection is going to hurt you.
Of course I won. Thanks for the belief, man. I won because of you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name's Trevor Quickshot Henry, joined today by Maurice Amazing Stuckenschneider. And after that Schalke victory, Splyce went on to win 5 games in a row before they faltered yesterday against Vitality. And truthfully, they probably should have won that game as well. But Splyce, they're setting themselves up for a great end to the split. Amazing.
Yeah, they're definitely on an upwards trajectory where they actually play better as a team. We heard W9D2 talk about it a bit, where it's the goal of the team, you know, play towards the late season, don't really try to win every game, but rather become better as a team.
Yeah, you're thinking longer term instead of shorter term, and look, it's paid off, right? Splyce at the middle of the split, middle of the spring, we weren't sure where this team was going to end up, although the Euphoria podcast kept rating Splyce very highly because of scrims. Thing is, today, this is where Splyce have to do it. If they win this game, they keep themselves in the race for that bye, the battle for the bye as we keep talking. What do they have to do to beat Giants?
I think they definitely have to pinch the jungle pool. I think it's really important to just make Joker uncomfortable, because even though both jungles kind of share jungle pool where they have Zac, they have Sejuani available, I do think it's more impactful for Joker to be kind of pinched out, because he's the playmaker for Giants, and Xerxes doesn't have that pressure on him necessarily.
Yeah, and of course, Joko, the playmaker for Giants, if he doesn't get this team rolling in the early game, the team doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, they're pretty doomed.
They either, you know, go from first to fifth and hit top speed and win a game, or they just stall out and don't do anything. I mean, the second half of the split, in their last, the second round robin, Giants are 2 wins and 6 losses. So they've really, really struggled, as opposed to the first half where they went 5 and 4. So really big difference. I'm going to catch up with the bans very quickly. Tristana, Sion, Na, and Olaf. We are playing on patch 8.5 and no Kai'Sa available, but not a huge priority in jungle just yet. Obviously, the Olaf is removed.
Yeah, Olaf has to be removed. It's like basically it's still like Olaf, Skarna being the priority picks, and then obviously like something like Zac and Sejuani being like, you know, for some people being like these go-to picks if those are left out. This Sion ban is actually pretty good, because when you're on blue side, you definitely want to pinch out the Sion, because he always has that flex pressure on the red side that he can just wave clear mid in or wave clear top lane.
And if I remember correctly, Niski played it yesterday as well. Hasn't been, as popular here in EU as we've seen in LCK. Another mid lane ban, Galio taken out. So jungler's still up. A lot of potential options, and obviously we've seen Steelback playing those janitor-style ADCs. When you see this heavy top lane focus and Oda Wamne actually having a number of champions removed from him and removing some counters of himself, I want to see what he's going to go to. Is Camille, we just saw it in that play and how impactful it was.
Yeah, I'm really interested too. I actually don't quite know what's going to be left up for the top lane pool, at least in terms of blind picks, but I do think if they leave him up for a later rotation, he's going to be fine. The Caitlyn first pick is nothing too special out there anymore. Caitlyn has been dominant on this patch, and we heard just a lot of AD carries also talk about it. She's just the best AD carry on this patch.
I mean, this is the 6th game that we've had on the weekend and on the patch, and it's the 3rd time she's been first picked.
Yeah.
So 50% blue side first pick priority, and the answer is going to be Xayah. Rakan is still there for Kasing, even though he has trended towards a little bit more of the long-range support style champions, but he has played a very mean Rakan. 1 game played, and it was a victory as well. 0-0-9 his final score.
Yeah, I don't think you have to pick the Rakan necessarily here, because there's no way the Giants is going to pick it. That's why I really like the Zac pickup. I do think it denies Giants a lot, because Joko has had a pretty okay win rate on that champion, has been really good in playmaking. I think that's basically the champion that, is you can do whatever you want to, and it doesn't really matter what the team does.
I mean, you talked about Joko's win rate, but amazing. Do you happen to know Xerxes' win rate on Zac?
Happen to. He's been 100% on it. It's actually.
How many wins is that?
That's 5 wins for him.
Well, there we go. Of Splyce's 10 victories, stats man amazing, dropping the knowledge. And of course, Xerxes, Verius just gave him some very big praise. The best performing EU LCS jungler at the moment. He's going up against Joko's Skarna. How strong is that statement? How much do you agree with it?
I mean, the jungle pool right now in the USCS seems kind of, I don't want to say limited, but the thing is that the jungle pool itself doesn't have as much influence, or different teams approach the jungle differently. So for example, for Giants, it's really important that Joker does plays. For Splyce, it's really important that Xerxes just brings control into the game. So for him to actually bring control and then maybe make plays early on in the game makes him the best jungler, because that's basically when he exceeds the expectations.
I actually really like that. You have to fit the role, your play style with your team's play style. And of course, in terms of phase 1 play styles, Caitlyn, Azir, Skarna for Giants. Got some scaling, got some pick. And of course, on the side of Splyce, Xayah, Rakan, no surprises there, as well as the Zac, and we jump into phase 2 bans. Tafisio made a bold statement that anybody that plays Morgana will win this weekend. He was wrong, but Morgana's banned away, so we won't be able to test that theory.
He happens to be wrong some of the time, I suppose. But yeah, Morgana is a really strong pick in this patch. It's basically especially combined with Caitlyn that you have the safe trap setup where you just Morgana Q, trap below, and then you have probably a killer level 2 even. The champion itself just offers so much utility for especially junglers too. For example, with a Skarner, you can just run in and hook someone, but that's taken away now.
All right, so what is next? Swain banned away. Very happy to see Swain picked once yesterday, banned I think 2 or 3 times. The buffs that he received on patch 8.5, bringing him into a pretty healthy, pretty good spot.
Yeah, he's definitely top tier pick actually. I think, especially as a flex pick on red side, I think it's really valuable because he can play both mid and top. And the amount of damage he does is just incredible. And the CC setup too, if someone like basically CCs him, then he just puts him back too. It's so strong right now. Especially in this coordinated team play. Bwipo yesterday really showing with Fnatic how good it can be when Fnatic beat Giants, in fact. So, on the receiving end. I got some PTSD going on.
That's definitely the case. Corki's going to be the final ban along with Thresh. So, mid and top their focus for Giants. Support's getting some cheers from the Portuguese fans here in Berlin at the EU LCS. So where are we going to close out the team composition now? What would you like to see from both squads?
I think for Splyce, it's just about getting more engagement, more CC, honestly. Like, I think that the Rise pick is perfect because you can basically TP in too with the ultimate and then CC someone, basically have the setup for Zac or vice versa, whatever it is. For Giants lineup, it's really important to just be able to protect the backline because there's so much engaged on Splyce's side that if they don't have anything to answer that, the Caitlyn and Azia are just going to be run over.
All right, and then how do we close out the team comps with top laners? Does Odo1 go for some sort of split push or some sort of tank? Ornn maybe? Just go even more all in on that long range engage? We'll find out shortly. Giants, they've got to lock in their team comps. It's going to be Tahm Kench. There's one way to protect your backline. Devour is going to be very useful.
Can you devour someone that is, like, if you devour your own Skarner while he's pulling someone, does that work?
I mean, I don't see why not. The tether would just say out of his mouth like a fishing line. You just pull along the guy. We'll have to see. We'll keep our eyes open. But it's going to be a gangplank locked in. So
not a fan of the gangplank.
Blind?
It feels awkward because, basically, I mean, team comp wise in the late game, it makes sense because Gangplank is a strong champion, Az is a strong champion, Caitlyn is a strong champion in the late game. But the issue with Gangplank early on is, especially with combined with Azir, is that you're gonna have 2 losing lanes most likely, especially with Blood coming in now. I think he can actually pressure the Gangplank completely, especially with Zac just being able to dive him 24/7. So I'm looking forward to see that on the top side of the map.
Okay, early game options for Xerxes, scaling for Odo1 on that Vladimir in a fairly comfortable lane for Vladimir to GP, I think. But it's Giants. It kind of feels like Giants all over again. Some scaling, some late game team fights. If they can survive, that is a terrifying combination in the late game. But it's not
unbeatable.
Unbeatable, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of team comps that are not don't give you this 100% win condition in the late game. I think that Splyce team comp has the outplay potential. For them, it's basically up to setting up the engages, where Giants always has to be on the lookout for them. And unless they get a couple of picks early on, I do think that the mid game is going to be quite the power hole for them.
All right, power hole in the mid game, and whether or not they can overcome it. As the analyst desk said at the beginning of the day, for Giants, they can play heartbreakers. If Giants win this game, they will eliminate Misfits and the Unicorns of Love while simultaneously removing Splyce from the battle for the bye. I mean, that is terrifying when every single game to this point has had really not a huge concrete impact, and today's the day where it all happens.
Yeah, and it's exciting because finally you have these implications come in where like Giants can just destroy 3 teams' hopes at buys or like playoff hopes, and that's something, you know, I don't think the other teams want to happen.
No, of course not. And of course everybody else will be watching these games very, very closely. Ladies and gentlemen, load up for the last day of games in the regular season here in the spring split. Pulling out some fancy camera work as we load up onto the Rift. It is Giants taking on Splyce. And for Splyce, they've only dropped 1 game in the last 6. It was yesterday to drop 2 Vitality.
That game, man.
And it's their fault, right?
Yeah.
Like, they got caught out. They made the mistake in the late game. That was punished. And all credit to Vitality for catching the throw, right?
Yeah.
But for Splyce, that could be the game that determines if they have to play a quarterfinal or play in the semifinals directly.
Yeah, and the issue with those things too, like, I mean, skipping quarterfinals is not that important, but it's more about the seeding implications, potentially. Because if you drop down to 4th seed, and you have to face like someone, I don't know who's going to be 5th and 6th, but you're most likely going to end up facing Fnatic in the semis. And I don't think that's something you want necessarily, because you definitely want to get to those finals, because I think Fnatic right now is really strong.
Necessarily the strongest team in EU at the moment. I think that's a pretty safe safe comment to make there, Maurice.
They're pretty okay, yeah.
Let's take a look at some of the stats on Xerxes over the last sort of 9 weeks of play.
Yeah.
Because we talked about how he has improved. We talked about the impact he's having in the EU LCS. And if you look at his jungle proximities, the amount of time he spends around his laners during the early game, his kills plus assist at 15 and his team gold at 15, every single stat significantly better in the back half of the split.
He was really bad early game in the beginning of the split, where he basically played to almost like improving Splyce. I think that's something like a lot of people have a misconception about. If a jungler is inactive early game, it doesn't always mean that he's a passive jungler. It means that it can mean, especially in good projects like Splyce, that he's just trying to, like, you know, get the lane set, whatever it is, and try to play for vision, and don't be too risky, and just play to the win conditions. And sometimes you overdo that, and I think that's what Xerxes did in the beginning of the split, and it's finally coming to his own, where he's actually trying to force plays if he can find them.
Yeah, I remember you and I actually talking about Splyce as a team, and how their decisions were impacting Odo1 negatively,
yeah.
And they needed to learn how to stop hurting him. Whereas, you know, a lot of other teams have to learn how to activate their carry. It was kind of the opposite effect for Splyce. And
it's been activated now. Odo1 is definitely there. It's, especially yesterday, like the amount of playmaking they had on the top side of the map was pretty good for them. And now we see like just normal blue start for the Skarner, getting the crab early on because he does have the quickness over Xerxes because he clears faster. Now he's going to go back to his jungle, probably full clear, and look for a reset.
Using those crystal slashes and working well. Power farming for the first few minutes. No real surprises when I run down the keystones. 2 unsealed spellbooks on the side of Splyce, so Odo1 and Niski are going to have some options as they continue to play. Actually, Kasing has that as well. So definitely some versatility coming in as far as that is concerned. Only Targamas on the other side with the unsealed. And as far as the early laning, not too surprising. Ryze and Azir going to poke out a little bit. Niski on the Ryze. Had some changes this patch. His ultimate cooldown has increased. And Targamas, after missing Tongue Lash, will actually get punished really well by Corby and Kasing.
Yeah, this matchup is not necessarily too much in Caitlyn's favor, especially because Xerxes started on the top side of the map. Like, they had the ability to actually push up early and get like some damage done already, and we see it now. Joker setting up for a mid gank. Didn't recall yet, so I'm hoping he's going to do that soon, but I think he's going to go for top crab first, basically save the gangplank, and just enable him to maybe even pressure Vladimir a bit.
Yeah, taking a look, Niski's got flash and heal, despite the fact he's very, very low from being zoned away by those sand soldiers. It's not the end of the world.
He's going to TP back.
Yeah, I was going to say, could swap and immediately. So that's just going to help balance out the lane pressure. Even got minion dematerializer, so holding on to that maybe, or just dealing with the shove that is naturally going to have, thanks to those sand soldiers. First little skirmish is going to break out now. Now Xerxes had the options to gank top. This is something you talked about. Gonna go for the flash engage from Odo1 there.
That's confident,
the Ignite is going down. First blood picked up by Odo, and easily gonna walk away. That was flawless.
What? I'm not quite sure what happened here. I don't know if Rune expected the damage of Odo1, but Odo1 and Xerxes together read it really well. They knew the amount of damage they were going to put out and executed perfectly. I'm kind of weirded out because, as we see in the replay now, Xerxes actually revealed, like, he was seen by Joko right now on this grind orb. And he still, like, Rune doesn't walk out the turret range. He still gets pinned under and dies instantly. Just a weird decision making, but maybe he just didn't have the reaction time at that moment to actually respond to the play properly.
And exactly what you expected. Amazing from the pick and ban phase. Flash forward from Targamas. This time around, the Tongue Lash is flashed away from. Corby's able to escape. In terms of summoner spells, 80 carry on one side, traded for support on the other. Net win for Giants.
It's definitely a net win for Giants, especially because Joko is probably going to recall soon and going to get those Parata boots. And when he hits level 6, that's the easy flash ultimate on the Corby.
Well, with the early first blood in favor of Splyce, at Julian Arnold from Fresherny21. I think Splyce will finish second because their macro play is clean. Every game counts. Vitality is only good if they're ahead. We'll find out later if he's right or not. Betsy's going to use that cleanse now to run away with his life. Gets dropped to 200 HP, but at least that's a summoner spell. Not the one you really want, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's still fine. Getting the cleanse out means that Niski will have the ability to just flash root him later on to actually get the gank done and be a perfect gank setup for the Xerxes level 6 gank.
Alright, another little engage here as Niski and Xerxes try to challenge those chickens in the jungle. They won't be able to get that one. I like calling chickens. I hear it sometimes. The odd caster. Raptor beak, just
yeah,
try hard
it's
sometimes.
too much. Just call them chickens.
Exactly.
And they're feathers, you know, that's how it works.
And, you know, you just farm them so much, they don't really fight back that well. So, anyways, that's my personal preference. If we just look at the CS numbers here, plus 20 for Odo1D2. He's got first blood. He's picked up those Ionian Boots of Lucidity already. And this is in sort of a scaling champion with a sizable advantage already. This is exactly what Splyce wanted.
Yeah, it's still fine on Gangplank's side because he does have just the ability to just bank some more money. But yeah, like if you're Splyce, having Odo1D2 on a carry champion and him performing well and actually being part of the team is so important for that lineup. We always talked about like maybe them not having a secondary carry beyond Kabe, and I think Odo1D2 has actually stepped up the occasion, has become that secondary carry.
It's really good because Odo is definitely one of the more established, respected top laners. Been around a very long time. Always at the top of the table when you think of top laners.
He's always been great. He has never been the best, but he's a reliable force. And I think that a lot of teams that he has been on, especially I think last year, he wasn't really enabled to the point that I expected him to be. And he has always been more of a supportive kind of role where he has played a lot of tanks, maybe some Rumble here and there, but never been this carry player. I think now him actually being comfortable to play that way is a really good sign for not just Splyce, but also for Odo1D2 as a player.
I mean, I really like that you mentioned Rumble. When I think of EU Rumbles, Odo's one of the guys that always comes to mind. He's going to use those Tides of Blood that are empowered, get some poke down into Ruin, and try to zone him away from minions.
Around again. He's actually going to set up for another dive.
Okay, Ruin has flash available. Joko's nowhere nearby.
They don't know that. They should know that this is coming, but they have the ping bot down. Now it should be an easy game. He's going to jump in.
We're going to judge the execution. Hemo Plague has been used. Ruin already gets pulled backwards into the tower. Odo uses the W to escape, and Xerxes is credited the kill. Another easy, beautiful dive.
Yeah, there's no incentive for Joko to play on the top lane right now. He's basically abandoning his top lane. Ruin is on his own, and it's get picked off again.
I mean, this is just playing into Xerxes and Splyce's strengths, enabling this top lane, and I mean, break this down for me, Amazing.
Okay, so from which perspective? If I do it from Giant's perspective, it just seems like they're not really respecting the amount of damage that Vladimir can do at level 6 and the amount of gank potential Zac has, even though they should know because Joko has been a great Zac player. On Splyce's side, you just do what you gotta do. Just kill the top lane and get ahead.
And they're doing it well. Maybe there's going to be a fight in the bottom lane. Let's bounce is available. Xerxes waiting in the wings.
So active.
All right, let's take a look. Jungle proximity. Remember, we looked at those numbers. Increasing in the back half of the split. Battle dance onto Targamas. Let's bounce pulls him backwards. And Kobe is activated. Another beautiful kill at the cost of an ocean drone.
Xerxes smurfing right now. The amount of activity he actually puts out in the early game is something that we have seen in the past couple of weeks, and he's really become this great jungler that we talked about earlier. And I think I'm actually happy with his gank pattern too.
I'm very happy. I mean, just another very good play. Combines with kissing,
free money,
Kobe.
man.
Everything hits. Every single ability.
Free money. And Seebeck even had to respect the potential for Xerxes to even flash on him because he was rooted by the Q2. So there was no escaping, no counterplay to that.
And that means that Splyce are 1,400 gold in the lead at 10 minutes. 3 kills to 0. And while, yes, they have lost the dragon, that means nothing when Vladimir's 1-0-1. Xerxes got 100% kill participation. We've seen the laners of Giants. We've seen some trading and some fighting. But it feels like 4v5. Where the hell is Joko?
I think he's just oinking in the jungle right now. He's just farming some chickens here and there. But I really expected him to be a bit more active because when you're picking this Skarner pick, it's really important to actually abuse the level 6 power spike. If you don't do that properly, you make it almost like you become a liability for the team.
When does it become too late? It's 11 minutes in, Predator's available, Impale's available. So Joko can still do something, but it feels like that window gets smaller and smaller.
Since we track around like the 15-minute mark usually, I think at least for Skarner that actually applies really, really well, because Skarner is really useless when he doesn't get somewhat ahead, because he has no tank ability, he has no like real hard to see for the backline, and we see another gang top lane.
Ruin gets pulled backwards with a stretching strike, and O2W's Hemo play picks up the kill. Now Xerxes going a little bit low. Yeah. Teleport being channeled from Splyce. I didn't see who started it. Looks like Kasing. And Splyce just pick it up. Portugal are bringing the chance. Let's go Xerxes. And Splyce are also setting up Siege. I mean, this is just setting us up for a really strong mid game for Splyce into a team composition with Giants that is falling behind and going to have a very difficult time coming back.
And the amount of control right now that Splyce actually is bringing to the game is incredible, because you have to respect 2 additional TPs actually. Niski can TP, Carson can TP, and there should be no counterplay, but the TP behind them right now.
All right, this is going to be Ruin coming to the fight. O2 goes golden thanks to the stopwatch. Let's bounce this in. Wow, O2 even takes down Joko. Now Ruin's in trouble because Niski's joined the fight. Odo gets the lifesteal and survives. That's a double kill for O2.
This is the time when you actually press FF button in a scrim, because there's so much activity on Splyce and there's no counterplay for Giants at all whatsoever.
Oh man, there's another fight breaking out. Steelback is the target, putting down a lot of damage, but Targamas is getting damaged. Chased down, Grey Health is available to him, and here's some support.
And
teleport for Niski, the quickness! Targamas and Steelback locked in place. Kasing's going forward, and Niski's not going to chase, but I got excited there as it looks like it could have been more.
Same, I got excited too. I thought Niski was actually going to flash him, but forcing summoners is enough. There's so much just going on the map for Splyce. A passive team in the early start of the split, now finally being active.
Oh man, such a good play. Abyssal Voyage being thrown down for Targamas. Here's the counter.
There's no TP right now though.
And Corby need to turn this around, but there's low HP bars. Kasing is going to try to dissuade the Giants members as the engage comes in. Corby with the Featherstorm and the flash gets to safety. The first kill will be secured by Giants. It's Targamas that takes down Kasing.
They finally got a kill on the board, but they have to invest a lot of time, and the Joker ultimate finally. Corby actually being able to outplay that and actually surviving that is incredible.
Such a good play. I'm sure we'll get a replay of it. And that's the first kill for Giants, but they are in a gigantic hole. 3,500 gold before 15 minutes.
That's
tough. That's tough.
That sucks a bit.
Okay, let's look. So we're going to start all the way at the top. This was the teleport play from Ruin to try and get something in the 2v2.
I don't think that's too bad, but they didn't respect the Ryze roam at all whatsoever, where Ryze can freely come from mid lane. He abandons the mid wave even as he cannot follow up, and it's an easy pickup afterwards. Rune just... they overestimated the damage. They thought they could one-shot, that they couldn't. And now we see another TP play coming in with, actually, the Targamas ultimate behind them. And this is what I actually like. I think if you face so many TPs, you actually have to wait until they're all out or attack the TPs themselves. And given that casting has the TP, attacking the lane is actually pretty good.
That's such a good play from Corby. Featherstorm into the root prevents Joko locking him down.
And he shot like the feathers in both directions, so he actually rooted them at the same time. It was pretty good, yeah.
Really well played. I mean, Corby was the shining star of Splyce in the beginning of the split.
And now it's Xerxes.
But look at these these damage numbers for Corby. Highest damage percent across his team is, of course, because of how the rest of the team deals damage. Large gold percentage. It's important to note that his damage per minute is a little below some of the leaders in the LCS, like we've seen players like Reckless. But there's no doubt that he was the first carry, the returning remaining member of Splyce, and the rest of the squad has stepped up to his early split levels.
Yeah, he definitely showed that he's worthy of staying on that roster, and I think for someone to basically return to roster like similar to Reckless did in 2017 for Fnatic, like you basically have to establish yourself as a carrying member. You have to be the one that is basically the driving force behind a lot of victories to actually have all the other players that are coming in buy into the project too.
That's exactly what he's doing. Right, we're establishing ourselves for a team fight, potentially around Dragon. It's a Mountain Drake. Everybody was grouping up, but no shenanigans, as the Rift Herald will get a good charge onto this bottom outer turret, drop it down to about 20-odd% of its hit points. And for now, the tower will survive. O2 is even threatening a dive.
That's so sad for Gangplank right now. you don't want to be in his shoes. Like, the only play that they can make right now is basically try to force a play onto the bot side on the map. But Splyce is actually responding perfectly. They have Ryze on the bottom side of the map. They have Zac. They're probably going to establish vision control right now, and they're going to go for the Dragon, most likely soon.
Okay, I'm going to keep my eyes on how that setup is. If you look at the vision, Giants have got pretty good wards in the entrances to Splyce's jungle, so some information is available to them. And obviously with Odoame pushing that top lane and the huge success he's seen, he's up 45 CS already, halfway to the Flame Horizon. He's got deep vision inside Giants territory. There's 2 control wards in the northern half of the map, which the observers are highlighting now. Thank you, guys. And this is just giving Splyce. So they got vision on the top side, Giants got vision on the bottom side.
You can definitely see the amount of, like, just intelligent play and, like, just preparation comes into the Splyce play. They probably prepared all these spots. We actually see another ultimate coming in bottom.
Okay, Featherstorm is available and used by Kobe. Gonna get a root onto Joko and Targamas. Here's the reply teleport. This is a double teleport, by the way. Emo Plague instantly popped down. Odoame flashes forward while in the Sanguine pool. Not gonna get enough damage yet. Flash forward from Kasing. Gonna get the quickness onto the root. Xerxes coming from behind. Kobe finds one. Niski gets the second. Now the tower is the focus, and Betsy's waiting in the wings. Steelback and Betsy can't really do a lot to defend this tower, and it will go down. Splyce extend their lead further.
Yeah, it's perfect just set up for Splyce. They make the pair on the bottom side of the map. They ignore the rune TP because you can't do anything anyway. And just the amount of plays that are happening, like, you sometimes see like people being uncoordinated, but Splyce actually does it as a team, as a whole. And they're always like coordinated together.
Yeah, definitely. If you missed that Odoame game day video that we ran at the beginning, watch it back, listen to his wording. This is a team that's about growth, development, working together. And you see it in plays like this that starts a little chaotic, but they respond instantly.
Yeah, the Giants just doesn't respect the double TP, to be honest here. Like, they should know that Ryze has the ability to TP. They should know that Vladimir is stronger than the Gangplank right now. They put the traps down, but that doesn't happen against a double TP because one of them is going to get through. And Niski, flash root, Xerxes rotating behind, and he could even like kill Steelback too if he just wanted to, but they opt for the safe option, get the 2 kills, get the turret, and just clean play for them.
Looks like they got the Dragon as well, so yeah. Mountain, tower, 2 more kills.
And it's a power hole for Giants too right now. Like, even if that comp was equal at this point, I don't think that their ability to actually do damage and to dish out damage would be there right now. Vladimir would still be stomping top lane or be ahead at least, and Ryze would still be able to get the rotations down, and Zac would still be a threat.
Oh, stomping top lane, you say? Plus 44 CS, Morella Nomicon plus Proto Belt. Before 20 minutes.
You can't even heal right now. Like, the potions don't apply anymore because of the Morella Nomicon. Or is it changed?
It
no,
is.
It's not. Yeah, it is.
On Morella Nomicon, it is specifically Grievous Wounds. Yeah. They've made it focus around that.
There's nothing the Gangplank can do right now. He just sits at his turret, shoots some minions, and they ultimately die with him, I suppose.
For the first time in League of Legends history, you can eat an orange and it will not be okay. All right, Let's Bounce is used, and even through the Emperor's Divide, Kasing gets a piece of the pie. 9 kills for Splyce, 100% kill participation for Xerxes, the strongest performing jungler in the EU LCS, and Targamas donates another kill to Splyce. Kasing picks it up, Splyce are going fishing, and they're getting another tower as well.
The Giants are running their own charity right now because they're donating kills left and right, and it's just impressive. The amount of mechanical skill, like even Zac is supposed to be such a simple champion, but Xerxes gets the E on top of Arcia, he instantly casts the ultimate, so Arcia's ultimate is nullified, and he gets him back into the team.
I mean, look at this, 4 towers, 7,000 gold lead. This is just impressive.
It's really sad for Giants because they could have had these implications coming in. They look really down right now, but yeah, they can't play a heartbreaker to anyone right now.
All right, so here's a replay, and just look at the timing here. Instantly into Let's Bounce.
He cancels the dash, he cancels the ultimate. There's no counterplay for Arcia unless he flashes instantly, but you can't do that, and then Targamas just...
I mean, you can see Ruin and Joker coming in from the side, but
they
it's
had
too
no
little
chance.
And too late.
And Odoame can always rotate. They're never gonna be having the numbers advantage in mid lane. There's no chance for Giants to establish that whatsoever.
Oh man, Giants are in such a gigantic hole, a gigantic deficit. It's the largest gold lead that Splyce have had at 20 minutes, all split long. It's the last game of the regular season, and for Splyce, this is to keep them in the running for the battle for the bye.
Yeah.
There's 3 teams that are running for that second seat. 3 teams who could take second seed at the end of the regular season. Vitality, Splyce, and G2. And for Splyce, they're 0-2 against Vitality. So when it comes to head-to-head, that is a problem for them. If Vitality beat G2, Vitality will take second. So what Splyce are hoping for is for G2 to win that game later today. And obviously...
And then they have to beat the tiebreaker.
If they play like this, they can, because they're looking fantastic.
Yeah, they definitely look a lot better than G2, and they actually had a pretty good game against Vitality yesterday too. Splyce is really looking strong and scary, because from what I've seen of the roster, what I thought of the roster was always like this late game approach, and we saw it in the early part of the season, and we never saw like these early game explosions where Xerxes is actually being active, odoamne is being active, and all of this coming together makes Splyce not just a scary team for now, but maybe even a scary team come playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're guaranteed to be in the playoffs. We're just seeing if they're going to skip quarterfinals, guarantee themselves that spot in Copenhagen, which, by the way, tickets are on sale. Get over to e.lolesports.com and check out the show. And for Splyce, right, 22 minutes in, the world is their oyster. It feels
doesn't
like
care anymore. He just
jumps in. They can do anything. I mean, look at this. Straight under the tower, insta-flash from Betsy. So give a little bit of time. Whoa! Somehow Steelback's down. Joko and Targamas are the targets. This looks like a 2v3, which Splyce won, because Odo1 has the fighting power of at least 2 people. I didn't really quite see how that happened, but Steelback just gets dumpstered, and
they
now
take
the
the
next
mid
tower
lane
as well.
Yeah, they don't care anymore. Splyce can do whatever they want. They're too tanky, they're too strong. They do too much. They're going to do too much of everything right now for Giants to actually be able to respond whatsoever.
Oh man, and for Giants, it's just such a disappointing end to the split. They picked up 5 early wins.
And he's ganked again.
Remember, Betsy now kisses Joko. Won't be a follow-up let's bounce, but because he had no flash, instantly forced to run away, and Splyce get the tower eventually.
And Splyce is still so disciplined about it. They don't waste summoners. They don't use any. I don't think Xerxes has used his flash once this game. He's always been controlled. Just gets ganked off, doesn't do too much, doesn't overextend, gets the kill, and again mid lane.
All right, let's take a look.
Dead.
There's the stretching strike into a 2-man knockup and brings back Targamas, who had Betsy in his belly. Easy double kills, and Splyce are going to set themselves up for Baron. There's the Realm Warp into the pit. I do want to say that Kasing and Odoamne are the scumbags of the team today.
He's going to die, no?
Well, let's take a look. Odoamne is going to try to turn this one around.
He's not going to die even.
Emo Plague's on cooldown. Going to get those Tides of Blood and the transfusions. There's the quickness into the knockup. The support from Kasing, and Odo gets another kill. And I'm going to reiterate that they're the scumbags. Amazing. Would you like to know why?
Why?
Because they have denied Xerxes 100% kill participation.
Yeah, I don't think they should have done that.
It's really not cool.
Fire them already.
There we go.
This how it works.
Baron was secured, teleport into the base, and at 23.5 minutes, Splyce are looking for more.
He's dead again.
This is another kill for Targamas. 1 and 5. Splyce have got 15 kills in 23 minutes. They are smurfing in the EU LCS, and they've already broken up the inhibitor. How much more can Splyce take on this push?
I mean, they will reset, but now they probably have like 2k each, and just gonna take all the bottom. There's nothing that Giants can do. Honestly, Xerxes could jump into the base. He will probably not even die because he still has his flash up.
Oh man, that is insane. So let's take a look at some items we can have some fun with. Hourglass and a needlessly large rod for Odoamne. We'll get back to the item talks in a moment. This is the re-engage from Xerxes.
And he's 50% HP, doesn't care. He just jumps in, draws some Betsy, Targamas like, I'm gonna save my mid laner. Draws him back in, fails the flash over the wall. Betsy's dead too. There's nothing he can do. Easy Nash.
So amazing.
I become repetitive, but this game is really, really just...
Well, what is the... let's see whether or not Odo can survive. Sanguine Pool on
yeah, that's a replay.
Big heal. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for saving me.
It's fine.
2 weeks on the job, but you've already correcting me. Nicely done.
It's fine. You know, like, it could have... Like, I understand the confusion, because we have seen the same thing happen over and over and over again, where Splyce engages, whatever Giants does, nothing happens, Splyce get away with it.
Amazing. What does the rest of the league think when you look at a game like this? Because
Giants
obviously Giants are in a disappointing place. They're going to get killed again. Ruin is already down. The tower falls, but let's also be fair.
Yeah.
When you have a top-of-the-table team battling a bottom-of-the-table team, you expect them to do well.
Yeah, but not this well. The implication of this is just that Splyce is gonna be a scary first-round opener for anyone.
Well, that's definitely the case. Xerxes goes into the base once again. Emperor's Divide does nothing for Giants. Kabi, W9D2 are tearing apart Giants. The only member of Splyce to die this game is Kasing. The base is destroyed. The Nexus is the focus. And Splyce decimate, deconstruct, obliterate, and destroy Giants. The battle for the bye is still on.
And what a statement.
This does not eliminate Giants because there is still several results to lock in. But it makes their life very difficult because Giants head-to-head is not great with many of the teams.
It's also about even if they play tiebreaker game right now, their confidence may actually be destroyed to a certain extent, because if you lose that hard, even though Splyce is a great team, you don't want to lose by 120. You actually want to have a chance, a shot whatsoever, but they didn't show any signs of life. And that's something we've seen out of Giants in the past couple of weeks where they seem dead.
Helpless.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me, in picks and bans, Amazing, you spelled out extremely clearly. Xerxes will gank top and dive that gangplank.
I didn't expect it to that early though.
It happened that early, then it happened again, then it happened again. You know, that to me was the most amazing thing, is that Splyce played to the win condition, they executed it flawlessly, and Giants, they had no answers. They didn't know how to respond.
It's always the question, what kind of preparation Giants actually put in, because if you see those picks, if you see what W9D2 did yesterday on the Vladimir, you should know what's coming. And they didn't.
Absolutely. So where does this put us now? Splyce end the regular season with 11 wins and 7 losses. Of course, this sets them up in that battle for the bye. G2 versus Vitality on the other two teams in that race. For Giants, they end at 7 wins and 11 losses. In the second half of the split, they went 2-7. Which is very disappointing for a Giants squad that honestly gave us some hope at the beginning of this, with some excitement, which fizzled. And for Giants now, their destiny is no longer in their hands as the rest of the results play out. And we need to see how the rest of the teams at 7 wins, you know, how they play, what they do, etc.
Yeah, you see a lot of young teams coming in, they look hard, and then other teams adapt to the play style. They adapt to the strengths that maybe these young teams have identified a bit earlier. And I think Giants, they fall flat right now because a lot of teams play late game, or everyone plays late game, but they also have the same aggression that Giants bring, and maybe even better individual players.
Oh man, so that sets us up well. Of course, a little bit later today, Medic will be doing a playoff checkup, and we'll run through the specifics of how the results will be impacting the day.
Misfits and UL must be happy right now too.
Yes, of course. Misfits UL definitely still in contention, and of course we have to talk about the player of the game. We have 3 players fighting for that one: Kasing, Xerxes, and W9D2.
Take Xerxes.
Good luck picking them. Xerxes enabled them, then they took over. You guys can vote at LOL Esports. He's already voted. That clear for you? Not even a vote contest?
It's that clear. He was incredible.
Well, there we go. For the finals in Copenhagen, on the 7th and 8th of April, we're giving 20 ticket holders a chance to play on the stage. All you have to do is buy a ticket for both show days, and then, of course, win that raffle. That's how you enter it, ticket for both days. And you can find out more information on eu.lolesports.com and how to be eligible. After the break, it's H2K versus Roccat, with a winner securing a playoff spot. We'll also have a chat with W9D2. Do not go anywhere. Numbers increasing in the back half of the split. Battle dance onto Targamoth. Let's bounce, pulls it backwards. And Kabi is activated. Ruin gets pulled backwards with a stretching strike. And W9D2's Hemo play picks up the kill. This is going to be Ruin coming to the fight. W9D2 goes